to Google YouTube. Yeah, I can see Tanya.
Yeah, I can see you.
Same here.
Hello, folks. We have a big crowd tonight, and you know what? We're looking at regional beers. And whose idea was it? I couldn't remember who thought of it.
Mine.
I thought it was Eric, but I wasn't sure.
Thank you, Eric.
Yeah, that was a good idea. Now, here we are with Westerners. Tanya out in California. We've got Beer Cup in Wyoming. In the north, we have Nate, Kate, Eric, Thomas Meadow. We have John Sharon with Zone 1, who we haven't seen for a while because he's been so busy. Uh-oh. From the south, we have myself, Louisiana Beer Reviews. We have the Beer and TV Ramble, Jean-Pierre the Haitian Connection. Maybe even more people will join. Eric, you're going to check for echo and mute issues and all that. Eric's our technical advisor.
I will test for echo, as Rush would say.
Right. In 1996. Okay. Well, let's go out west first to Tanya. What do you have?
Hi. I actually have a beer called Beast Oakland, and it only comes in this little 32-ounce growler. And it's a Kolsch-style ale. It's a collaborative. It says it's brewed in collaboration with somebody, but it doesn't actually specify who that somebody is. It says with Beast Oakland, which is more confusing. So I don't even know what's going on with that. You want to jump in and talk about it?
Yeah, give us a. What we'll do tonight is we're talking about beers that are sold in our region, but pretty much no one else outside of the region can ever dream of getting. So you give us. Everybody will give a brief description. And I'm sure we'd all buy it again, since after all we're presenting it. So go ahead.
As a matter of fact, this is the second growler I'll have in my collection of tiny growlers that I want to put beer into. So clearly I would buy it again, but I jump ahead of myself. Ale Industries used to be based in Concord, California, which is a city away from me. And they had a tap room, which is basically a bar and some stools and some pretzels set up in a warehouse-style place. And it was freezing in there because they literally rolled up the doors to this warehouse and served beer. They've since moved out to Oakland and now apparently run entirely on bioenergy. And all of their delivery trucks and distribution and everything is based on bioenergy, which is totally a Bay Area thing. They make a lot of great beers, and so this one's this Kolsch-style ale, and it's named after these, I guess they're shipping cranes that are out on the on Alameda Island, where they do a lot of shipping in and out of the San Francisco Bay. Pretty much iconic. Everybody who does stuff in Oakland uses that image.
Yeah, I saw all that when I was at the Oakland Coliseum for 2 games. I saw those cranes, yeah.
Exactly, yeah. All right, so I'm going to take a look. This is such a light style beer. This is one of those beers where, and I said this to somebody and they didn't know what I was talking about, so work with me. It smells like my glass as opposed to the beer, because glass to me has a smell. But very, very, very lightly, I get some malt and a little bit of fruitiness out of this. This particular beer is a super light, and the light's not in your favor, super light, probably even paler than straw color from my perspective, and kind of cloudy. It did not pour with a very big head, but let's drink it anyway.
What kind of beer is it?
A Kolsch-style ale.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah, I figured I would get something that's nice and light. This beer, I feel like, is the lager for people who don't like lagers, because it has that kind of flavor, but it's very light and gentle. It's very gentle lager flavor to it, I guess I'll say, is that. I get, nice maltiness, nice light crisp maltiness, a crisp bitter hop finish. Neither of those are terribly overwhelming, and so it's just this real kind of delicate, I would even call it the white wine of the beer industry. No, actually that doesn't make any sense because there's some pretty heavy-hitting white wines, but nonetheless, very light and delicate, soft flavor. Oh. Even a tinge of dryness in the finish. Super light body, crisp, clean, very balanced, very enjoyable. I like Kolsch ales a lot in the summer, or if I'm looking for something that would pair well with a lager, and I'm trying to avoid lagers, which is one of my hobbies, avoiding lagers. So I enjoy this beer and this style in general. Great beer out of Oakland from a really cool company that makes some great beers. They have a lot of great stuff. So if they show up in your distribution, ale industry, snap those bad boys up. They're good.
That's a good presentation. It's funny that you say you avoid lagers because there's a guy that does videos from England named Ruku, and he's always saying, please don't ask me to do any more ales. I cannot stand to drink ales. I will review lagers, but I just can't.
Wow.
Yeah, so I can't stomach drinking an ale. It's so comical.
Balance, balance in the universe. So.
Right. So you're his exact opposite.
Yeah.
Now.
So, there you have it. Thanks.
Thanks for the description. And now we're going to Wyoming. Beer Cub and Michelle Stitches, I didn't think I'd ever see y'all again. I was getting some courage.
Back from the island of lost beer reviewers, I guess. We tonight are having Blacktooth Bomber Mountain Amber Ale. Doubtful you will see this in your area. It is from Sheridan, Wyoming, which is in northern Wyoming near the Montana border. And it just started coming to our area of Wyoming a few months back. So I doubt they have a very wide distribution. But they call it an amber ale, but it even says on the description at the brewery that this is an Irish red, so why they didn't call it a red or an Irish red on the cans beats me. It's in 4.6% alcohol. I do not know what the IBUs are on this beer. It's pretty standard to the style. Nothing that's going to knock you out of the park, but just a nice malty. I'll show you the beer. Just a nice malty amber appearance, and lots of caramel and biscuit type flavors in it. Not a lot of hops, of course, for the style, just enough to balance it out. And I've had this a couple of times in the past, but it's the first time I bought it in a month or two. Have any comments on it?
I'm just being Vanna. It's nice. It has a little, on the back of my tongue, a little after finish, the hops, but it's not those bitter or piney or grapefruity hops. It's more
earthy herbal.
Yeah, more earthy herbal, almost a little tangy, like, for lack of a better comparison, lemony. I don't know if that makes sense, but anyway. But yeah, it's very refreshing. Sorry.
I think I would like to try that.
Yeah, it's good, and I give props to, and if you can read it on the can there, they did put the canned on date, so this beer was canned just over a month ago.
Wow, it's got the date, guys.
Good for them.
It's got the date, guys.
Ding, 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 ding.
And Tanya, I'm your soul sister number one. I don't like lagers either. Just a little side.
Uh-oh.
Why do you two people hate America?
I don't. I'm not hating on it. It's just not my thing.
Okay. Now, we're going to go out to the north. Maria Devon, the girl next door, what do you have? Utopia.
Hello. Hi, everyone. I have Dundee's Pale Bock Lager. Dundee is another offshoot of Genesee, and they brew Dundee in the pilot brewery that Jay and I went to. This is their spring case. I don't think they had a summer case. So I grabbed this, and in the case that I bought, they had a Maybach, a Kolsch, a Pale Ale, and an IPA. So I'm excited to get this one into the glass. You know how I love the Maybach, because I love the lager.
Oh boy, here we
I love America too. This is a beautiful color. That's just perfect golden. It's just amber. The box style lager is just a lager with a little bit of strength, a little bit of festive strength. And for the springtime, this one is floral. I'm expecting this to have faded a bit because it's a little bit old. If it's their spring case, this could be, I don't even know how old. But I figured the two pale ales will hold up well, and these two lagers would be, you know, within a good time frame. And this one has some earthy spice on it and some nice floral. There's no off flavors, no off scents. It's got just a bit of richness from malt and some breadiness. This one uses Apollo hops, which are very popular in IPAs, and I will say they do have a little bit of citric, but it's so light. Cheers. Oh, and the ABV on this is 6.25%.
Oh, that's pretty nice. Cheers. 6.2. I like that, huh, Jean?
Isn't that nice? That's just dry, a little bubbly, all that malt coming across your palate. Just perfectly creamy, with a little tingle from bubbles and lots of earthiness from hops. They're not terribly floral on the palate, so I think they've faded, but they do have quite a bit of earthiness, and they're not terribly spicy. Like, you wouldn't say these are tremendously herbal as far as their spice. It's kind of more like a hay-like grassy type of hop, and Hallertau is the other hop that's in there, so maybe that's what I'm getting. That might not even be the Apollo, that could just be the Hallertau. So I like this. The Bros thought this was world class. I think they gave it, back in 2010, a 90, and I haven't had so many that I could say that they're wrong, but I really like it. I think it's well done and quite excellent. I would say it's 3.75, 4 range.
Man, and the only Dundee beer I've ever tried out of the can, the tall 24-ounce can, was the Dundee Honey Brown Lager,
That's good. I like that beer.
which I should
I
have.
still have to try that one.
It's nice.
I should have bought it when I was in Ohio. It was the stupidest thing I did. Not buying it. But the Dundee Honey Brown Lager was sold in. It's a brown lager, but it's made with honey, right? So they some kind of honey from Canada, I think. But they don't sell it around here anymore. I haven't seen it in a few years, but it's an interesting kind of strange item. But I guess it's pretty common up in New York and Ohio and Pennsylvania area.
Yeah, Dundee beer is pretty common here too. Indiana.
Yeah.
And the case was more than reasonable. It was a $10 case for 12 beers, 4 different beers. So it was very reasonable. For about the same price as a 6-pack, I got a case.
That's not bad.
How much?
Yeah.
How much? How much was it again?
$10, $9.99.
No, you're not going to pay that for that here.
Yeah. Well, now we'll go to Nate, Kay, and then Eric.
Unmuted. There we are.
Okay, so Honey Brown is in Colorado, but not Wyoming. Okay. All right, Nate, Kay, and then Eric.
All right, so tonight I've got Smokin' Dagger from Jack's Abbey Brewing Company out of Framingham, Massachusetts, about 34 minutes away from here in good traffic. Something like that. Eric, we have to visit, by the way. We have to go.
I've not been there yet, but they do make some good lagers. That's all they do, by the way. They only make lagers.
Which is
try to do it in sort of traditional ale brewing styles.
Yeah, and I know that a lot of we're being hating on lagers tonight, but I'll tell you, my first impression of this one, it's a black lager, and I thought when they put something, descriptors on the bottle like smoky and roasted, I'm expecting something like, I've had their Marzen before, and you know, it was fantastic, but it was extremely smoky. This is not really all that bad for smoky flavor. I think it's like really well balanced, and as far as lagers go, I mean, the only thing that really it reminds me a little bit of the Sam Smith oatmeal stout, because I think that's because of the chocolate malts that are used in it. That would be my kind of guess on it, but in general, it's really well balanced. On Beer Advocate, it says it has a different, maybe possibly inaccurate AVB on the bottle. It's 5.6.
Kind of mild. A little strength though.
Yeah, and the IBUs are only about 25. It's really mild, mild bitterness. Mostly malt flavor, but really got kind of a sweet, kind of chocolatey almost. So, nothing like too out of the ordinary though. You know, not one flavor overcomes the other. It's really well balanced in my opinion. So, and I immediately thought stout when I picked it up. The past few that I've had have tasted more like a stout. This one I think I've had for a little while in the fridge. Maybe I'm guessing that it wouldn't necessarily keep as well as other beers do.
They're always asking me. People are always asking me, "When are you going to review some Jack's Abbey's beers?" I say, "When I ever see them around here."
Exactly.
So, Eric.
The beer that I am bringing to the discussion tonight is a very regional beer brand in New England, and I believe in some of the New York, some places up in New York, and they brew this beer in Rochester, New York, where they brew the Genesee and the Dundees. This is a Narragansett beer. This is their summertime ale. This year, their summertime is a Citra Ale, so I believe they used the Citra Hop in that one. It is an American-style blonde ale. It is 4.2%.
Hold on. That's okay, Beer Cup. Beer Cup say you're having technical difficulties.
Yeah, that's all right. But anyways, yeah, this one is a 4.2% alcohol by volume beer, and it's 24 IBUs. And this is the first year, according to their website, that they've made the summertime ale with the Citra Hop. It's a blonde ale, American-style blonde ale. And actually, I can tell you that this beer, just the standard non-Citra ale hopped version of the beer, got a silver medal in 2012 in the category of American-style golden ale. So it does pretty well. And I'm also having it in a Trinity Beer Company glass. They're a brew pub out of Providence, Rhode Island. The brewmaster, Sean Larkin, is the brewmaster of Narragansett, Trinity, Revival Brewing, and the Brewtopia Beer Bar, which is also a barbecue joint in Cranston, Rhode Island. So, yeah, it's pretty cool. And it did have that big of a head where the lacing is, so it was a pretty sticky, foamy lacing. And it's definitely blonde. Definitely has that blonde, darker amber appearance to it. And you can smell a little bit of like a florally, slightly piney kind of a note, but there's definitely the caramel malts, the pale malts, a little bit grainy, and it has a little bit of that noble sort of hop, earthy spice to it. But when you drink it, it totally follows the nose. It's a little bit tinny, and I'm not sure if that's because this isn't the cleanest glass in the world or not, but it definitely has a little bit of a tinny mouthfeel. It is a lot drier than maybe you would expect, and maybe that's it being the Citra hopped version. And it has a good spice, kind of like an herbal spice, grainy note and taste to it, and it's definitely got some of that hop spice, and I'm actually getting a little bit of a honey type quality out of the flavor to it. So it's not too bad, it's not too great. I would definitely recommend this beer overall to people if you are in the distribution area of Narragansett. And they've been around since the 1890s, and for a long while they were sponsors to the Red Sox and the Boston Braves. They had a good marketing campaign with those guys for a while. And it used to be that this brewery was in It started in Cranston, Rhode Island, and then it moved. It changed hands a couple of times. I think Falstaff Brewing bought it. It says here in 1965 they bought it,
Right.
and then they moved to Fort Wayne, Indiana, and actually this year now, after it's been brewed in Rochester, New York for such a long time now, actually this year on April 3rd, 2016, they brought back the Narragansett Brewery to Pawtucket, Rhode Island. So it is now back in Rhode Island beer.
Yeah, what happened was Falstaff bought all these little struggling companies, Ballantine and Narragansett, and then they went bankrupt, and so they collapsed, and then so Pabst came in and saved it all because it was all like defunct. Even the Ballantine Ale, you know, the IPA,
Yes.
supposedly that was made in Fort Wayne, Indiana, up until like 1997. But Falstaff just crashed, you know. So Pabst, they've made their whole company off of going around buying up companies that collapse.
Most of these beers, I'm not sure how this brewery in Pawtucket, Rhode Island is going to work, but most of these beers are brewed under contract by Genesee. They make some beers at a place called Buzzards Bay Brewing in Westport, Mass, which is over by New Bedford, Massachusetts. They make some of their Imperial one-off run beers over there. But I guess what happened was in 2005, a bunch of local investors in Rhode Island got together to reformulate the company after it went away in the 80s.
Yeah, because Pabst, they weren't really interested in it, and they were like, "Go ahead. If it makes it, good luck, and if it fails, tough." And that same scenario happened in 2010 with Haffenreffer.
Yes.
The Haffenreffer family asked Pabst if they could buy the rights to the beer back from them, and they said, "Yeah, we don't care. We don't even like making it."
Nice.
So, but they didn't make it. The Haffenreffer family failed. That beer failed, and it was put out of business about 2 years ago.
Anywhere you go, and this is totally a regional beer. This is the definition of regional beer to me. Anywhere you go in Rhode Island, this is the house beer. You can get 16-ounce tall boy cans of their Narragansett Lager, which is a fantastic adjunct style lager for like $2.50, $3 most places. They'll have a lot of draft deals. It's like you can't go into Rhode Island or in southern New England, period, without seeing this beer anywhere.
Yeah, the closest it's to me is in Pensacola, Florida. I can go to Pensacola and get Narragansett, but that's the closest I can get it.
And
Now,
it probably got the most famous it's got was, if you remember the movie Jaws, where the character Quint, played by Robert Shaw, is drinking a beer and then he crushes the can. That's a can of Narragansett Lager. And now they have this whole hashtag going around on the internet called Crush the Quints.
it's a lot easier now since it's an aluminum can, and he was crushing steel cans on his head. All right, now on to Indiana. Now, do you know that I was within just a walking distance of Indiana a few weeks ago on July?
Well, you know,
July. You mean June?
it is though.
Yeah.
I mean, June 8th. That's
Okay,
right.
I'm about to say.
Depends on what area of Louisville you was in is within walking distance. Because we could be within 10 minutes of Louisville, or I can be within an hour and a half of Louisville.
I mean, walking distance of the state of Indiana.
Okay.
But I was told you can have fun in Louisville if you want. I am not meeting up with you. Get lost. And so that's what I did. I'm just kidding. I know you were busy, John.
Yeah, I've been working a lot.
But I was hoping I could meet up with you when I went up there, but it didn't work out.
At that time. So what I'm drinking tonight is a beer out of Indianapolis. It's called House. It's from Central State Brewing. They're calling this a rustic blonde ale. So that's kind of what it looks like. It's really full of carbonation. Not much head to it, but the carbonation is just really exploding on it. This comes in at a 4% ABV and 38 IBU. It's made with two-row and rye and table sugar is what it says.
Interesting.
Wow.
It's got noble varieties, but it varies from batch to batch. So not every batch is probably going to taste the same. It's made by their CBS house wild yeast, and it's also fermented in Brettanomycin. And I don't know if anybody on the panel's had anything with Brettanomycin in it,
Yes.
but it gives that soury note. And sometimes I think if you put too much in it, it definitely overtakes the beer. But I don't know if it's the Brettanomycin or what their yeast strain is. But to me, the yeast strain just really overwhelms everything on this, because you cannot taste any malt in this beer whatsoever. So
Yeah. Tanya said she is not enthusiastic about Brettanomyces beers.
yeah, and I'm really not either. And but we had some of these the other night, and I thought, man, that really kind of tastes almost like a sour wheat type beer more than it does the blonde ale. And after doing a little research on it, I come to find out that it's fermented in Brettanomycin and they're wild yeast strains. So I don't know what their wild yeast strain is made out of. They probably caught it somewhere up in Indianapolis. But to me, overall, it's a decent beer, but it seems like to me it's a throw-together home beer. Basically,
What's the ABV on it?
the what?
Alcohol level.
4%.
Oh, that's low.
That's light.
Very
That's
light.
very light.
But it's 38 IBU, so
You don't normally hear of light sour ales.
no. But it's definitely light. I mean, there's no alcohol flavor to it. There's no malt flavor to it. There's no hop flavor to it. All it is their yeast strain and Brettanomycin, which compensates the whole beer. So,
What do they call the style?
they're calling it a rustic blonde ale.
Rustic. Hey, wait a minute, Eric. They got those Berliner Weissos, and those are like 3.8%. I had one from Berlin, from Germany.
Man, that's at least one kind of a sessionable ale that hasn't made its way to the United States with the the U.S. brewers yet. Maybe that might happen one day.
Yeah, that thing tastes
We
like
got a brewery down in Louisville called Against the Grain that kind of went wild for a while. They're brewing everything with Brettanomycin, and it just didn't go real well. And it was just kind of like
Now, John, you like that sour beer I brought to you from Illinois, right? That distilled sour?
Yeah, I like distilled sour. I like sour beers, period.
Yeah. I know you put a photo of that. You said you liked it.
Yeah, but we're big fans of Belgians, Cantillons. I don't know if you've ever heard of Cantillons or not.
Oh, yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. But, yeah, we're really big fans of those. But
You would have bought some in New Orleans last year if somebody hadn't copped the attitude with you, huh?
Remember that story, yes.
you have Cantillon down there?
Yeah, remember you went to the beer store and the guy said, if that's all you're
Oh,
buying,
yeah, I forgot about that, yeah. Well, he went up there and he goes, that's all you're going to buy? He goes, you're not getting any Cantillons. I thought, golly, man, we had quite a few dollars in beers.
Mm-hmm.
he's sort of like the beer Nazi. His whole thing is his whole presentation is to offend his customers.
Yeah.
Right.
And he does
That's not good to do that,
does a great job at it.
Yeah. I almost told him, so, well, I know Jay Terrio, does that mean anything?
I said, get out of the store. He's got a sign hanging up in his store that says, be nice and leave.
Yeah.
I'm serious. Anyway, some people know who I'm talking about. Even the viewers probably know this guy. Anyway, I don't want to say too much because he gives me good discounts, and if he hears it.
I like it. You kind of walk into the place and, he's got a nice variety of beers. And I mean, the food looks excellent. Then you go back in the back, and there's a sign that says "shitter this way."
Yeah, it's kind of a peculiar guy.
Yeah.
But he is from Philadelphia, so Louisiana does not have to answer for him. All right. Now, going to Mobile, Alabama, the home of their first American Mardi Gras. Jean, what are you bringing us tonight?
I am tonight sampling Fairhope 51 Pale Ale. This is an American Pale Ale style. It is 5.9%. The brewery opened in 2012, and then a year later, they opened up a brewery and pub. And this is one of their flagship one of their many, not flagship beers, but one of their year-round beers that they sell. To me, it's good. It's not a Sierra Nevada, but it's close enough. Style, texture, as you see by the lacing of this beer here, it's pretty quite nice. It's a very enjoyable pale ale, and me personally, I have nothing against pale ales or lagers or stouts. I love them all, and it's good. But more so with their beers, with Fairhope, and most of the beers here in the state, they do quite a bit of a lot of IPAs and a lot of what's the other side? And a lot of pilsners I've noticed with some of the ones like Back 40. And I'm sure Jay, your daughter, has mentioned some of these beers. She goes to the University of Alabama. Good people.
Yeah, that's what this class. Yeah, she brought me some Good People beer, and I drank one.
Yeah, so they're good. Me personally, I prefer the other stuff. I've had stuff from Back 40. I've had stuff from Good People. I had stuff from Straight to Ale Brewery. Most of the stuff is only sold in the state I'm in, and I think it's as east as Pensacola, I believe, you can get these beers. So it's an enjoyable pale ale.
What's the alcohol on it?
5.9.
Oh, that sounds like something I'd like. Now here's mine. In Louisiana. This makes sense because this beer.
Here we go. I know what it is.
Pensacola, you have a lot of family there. That's cool. One thing I'll say before we start on this beer, I think we had a little disagreement about ales and lagers, which means that probably we're going to do a lot of unfriending and blocking on Facebook once this is over. I mean, it's like you cannot, and I think you'll agree with this, there's no way you can disagree about beer and remain friends, and you do have to block people from the group, and I think that's the only appropriate way when you disagree about beer, because that's how serious it is.
It's the adult way of dealing with it.
I love you all.
I like what you're saying, Nate. That's the adult way of dealing with it.
We're one big happy family.
Sometimes.
So, if you get blocked, you'll know why. All right, now, because we disagreed on some aspect of beer. Moving on. This is the first officially licensed National Collegiate Association beer. It's the first collegiate sports licensed beer, and it's called Ragin Cajuns, and it was introduced in 2015. Certified Cajun with the flag on it. That's the Acadian flag, the flag of the ethnic group. It's a genuine Louisiana ale. I mean, they'll wear that out on it. It's actually certified by the University of Louisiana, and their nickname is the Ragin Cajuns. And
That's a college beer.
yes, it's actually authorized by the university, and it's made for tailgating. They don't list the alcohol. That might have something to do with that they don't want to list the alcohol because it's a college thing.
Mm-hmm.
But Beer Advocate says it's 4.8. It could be. The website for the company says it's 12 IBUs, but they didn't list the alcohol, which made me a little curious.
What's the style again? I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's a Kolsch style ale.
Cold style, okay.
Yeah, those are relatively low, like 4.2 to 5.5 or something like that.
Right, and it's 4.8. They say on Beer Advocate. You can see it's golden. It's bubbly still, not much lacing. The weird thing about this beer is that, and it says on the side of it, it's made in Arnaudville by Bayou Teche Brewery, which Maria tried the Cocoa Drie from Bayou Teche in Arnaudville, Louisiana, and she liked the Cocoa Drie. And I went looking for Cocoa Drie today. I couldn't find it. Come to find out, I had never reviewed that beer. I've had it.
Oh, you would like it. I thought it was really good. In fact, I would like to try more from them.
Yeah.
Who makes that beer? Who makes that?
Bayou Teche Brewing.
Okay.
Arnaudville, Louisiana. But I have had the Cocoa Drie, but I just didn't review it for some reason. It says on the side of the bottle here, "Ça va mieux avec des amis." which is like it's better with friends.
Nicely translated.
You're a French person, huh?
Not at all. If there's anything that is worse than my German, it's my French.
Okay. So it's made with Louisiana rice. They say this beer is made with Louisiana rice. And hold on real fast. Louisiana rice, barley malt, and noble hops from Germany. This is a very strange product. It's made year-round. It's sold year-round. But it tastes like it has Brettanomyces or something. Yeah, you get a little bit of the boiled rice, but
that sounds weird for a Kolsch-style beer to have that kind of sour note to it.
It's not
That
sour.
was my thought.
It's not sour. It's spicy like horse blanket. Like if you went in a barn and it was really hot and the horses were sweating and you smelled the blanket. But the taste, it's really strange. I don't know why it has that Brettanomyces flavor, but other people remark that maybe that is in there. The body is medium, light to medium. The finish is fairly crisp, and it's highly drinkable. I mean, I've been sipping on it this whole time, and I wanted to just gulp it down, you know, but I only had one. So it's made for tailgate. They say it's made for hanging out before the football game at the University of Louisiana. You know, eating jambalaya with andouille sausage in it and some chicken. And you know,
before they get beat by LSU.
Oh.
Well, if they were playing in Lafayette at the, it would not be LSU. They would be playing in Baton Rouge because LSU's not going to travel to that. You know, LSU does not travel to smaller stadiums to play. You come to their stadium. But it might be like, Jean, they might be playing, let's say they were playing Tulane or
South Alabama.
Yeah, the University of South Alabama is who's in their conference, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, so, but they would be drinking this and eating jambalaya and, or maybe some boudin, which is a rice type sausage, boudin, and I think it would go really well. Now, some people did not like this beer when it came out. They said, "Oh, it tastes weird. It tastes funny. It tastes blah blah blah." I said, "Well, to me, it tastes good, and it reminds me of this weird red rice lager from Japan, and I think it's." I think that's that Hitachino nest.
Yeah, yeah.
You know that.
I do. I couldn't figure it out.
That was the strangest thing, was it not?
It was. It was really weird.
Anyway, I think Maria would like the Ragin Cajuns. She liked the Coco Dri. I think you all might. I don't know if you would all like the Ragin Cajuns, but at least you'd think it was different. But so that's it, folks. We looked at a lot of beers that almost nobody can get. So what's the point of this video?
Support your local brewery.
We got
right.
You never know what you might find. There might be gems out there, beers you really like, styles you've not tried.
And as they say in the movie Jaws, keep crushing it like Quint.
Hey, John.
Yeah.
I was just sitting here after you said Good People Brewing Company. That kind of rung a bell with me. I've actually had quite a few of their beers.
Mm-hmm. And you know, they're in Birmingham, so there's not far from Indiana just by travel-wise, going up I-65.
That's right. That's right.
They're from Alabama, and they bring up beers all the time, and they bring up a lot of good people. So,
yeah.
I think the main thing we can take from Jaws, besides Narragansett beer was popular in 1975, the thing we can take from Jaws is that don't be an idiot and bust your radio up when you're having problems with a huge shark.
Exactly. Amen, brother.
But I will say this before
call the Coast Guard. They will come and shoot the shark.
Great. That's just great.
Yeah. But I watched years a St. Pauli video today, which was a real good video, and he brought up a good point. And if I'm misinterpreted, please let me know. But he doesn't get on Rate Beer and Beer Advocate. He gets on Untapped and looks at what it is on that, and And I've not been on Rate Beer Advocate because I think it's just a bogus site. And if I want the truth on what I think a rating is, that's what I do. I get on my Untapped and I'll look up a beer and I'll see what it is, and that's what I go by.
Untapped is a good app.
Yeah,
I agree.
But
less bickering. I feel like people get on Rate Beer and Beer Advocate and hate on particularly lagers. Like, oh, this is all crap. Where it should be evaluated by the style. Is the beer done nicely based on what they were trying to do? And so I look, but I always take that with a grain of salt.
Yeah. But I think beers that most of us drink and appreciate on there, and I'm speaking maybe not for the whole group, but myself. You guys can jump in and agree too. But the beers that most of us drink and like are really degraded beers on what Beer Advocate and Rate Beer is.
Okay, but look, wait a minute. Before we get off on another topic.
I'm sorry I brought that topic up, and I usually do, and I apologize.
That's fine. That's fine.
We're going to have to shut this down because we're going on a long time. But look, I like Beer Advocate and Rate Beer for this reason. I mean, I am not bound by their scores. I mean, I understand that some people got access to grind and they got an attitude problem. So I'll get on there and I'll just say, okay, this beer gets a terrible rating. Like sometimes it'll get a 1 out of 100. It's like, come on, man, a 1 out of 100? You would not be able to drink it, I'm pretty sure. But I'll just write my review and then I'll read what people said over the last month. Like Maria says, if you go past a month, it's kind of questionable because it's too long ago. Sometimes if it's a craft beer especially, the consistency is not always so reliable. So, but I'll just see, what did people say over the last month? And I read what they wrote after I write my comments. And oftentimes it'll match. Like with this Ragin Cajuns, I was saying, it has this weird Brettanomyces thing. And then I was reading other people that said, well, not too many on that beer because they hardly have any ratings. But some people did remark that it had some peculiarities about it. But that's why I use it, John. Not to say, I understand that they got people that got some real serious access to grind on there, right? Uh-oh, he got mad and quit. Okay, now.
Goodbye, John Sharon. Oh, hi, John Sharon.
Oh, stop talking shit.
Uh-oh. He's back.
John. He's having some connectivity issues. Now,
it always happens. I can't stand the thing. It always happens.
Yeah, like a year ago, Eric remembers this. We were getting ready to go in like 2 minutes before we went on. Microsoft decided to send me a major update.
God. Yeah, that's right.
And it wasn't like, you can do this later. It was like, right now, your whole system is going to crash and restart. I was like, are you kidding me? And Eric and them were like, why did you just quit? What's going on?
Yeah.
Like, I didn't just quit, okay?
Microsoft made you do it.
Yeah. Okay, now, we did a lot of regional beers, and that was a lot of fun, I thought. I really was interested in listening to people talk about it because everybody was pretty succinct, right? Like, getting to the point. Next week, we're going to look at Chimay.
Nice.
Not exactly. Chimay Whitecap, the Cinq Cent.
My favorite.
It's 8% alcohol. It's available all over the world. This is one of the highest rated beers on the planet, y'all. And then, after that, we have, bear with me for just a moment. In 2 weeks, we have Goose Island 312 Urban Wheat Ale.
I don't know what happened.
I might not be able to get that.
We got that one.
I have had it before, though.
Oh, heck, I thought everybody got Urban Wheat. Hey, John.
You'll be able to get that where you're
I'll
at.
see.
What is it, Jay?
Chimay I've got. Chimay I can get.
I can get Chimay, yeah.
July 6th, I have Goose Island 312 Urban Wheat.
I can get that.
I thought everybody got that. All right, now, here's one on July 13th that could be a real buster.
Trouble?
A real buster. Birra Moretti La Raza.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Which one? Say the name again, Jay?
Birra Moretti La Raza, the famous
They're
red.
Doppelbock.
Yeah, the famous red Doppelbock from Rome, Italy.
I will go to College Hill package to see if I can find it.
Can you send the next 3 or 4 weeks out on our messenger hangout?
Yes, I could.
Okay, thank you.
Then I've got Sierra Nevada Summer Wheat Ale coming up. But I might do that.
Summerfest
Maybe
Ale.
do that. What's that summer lager from Sierra Nevada? What's that one called?
Summer Crisp Lager.
I think it's called Summerfest.
Summerfest?
Yes.
Yes.
That's the one.
Okay.
That's the one we can do on the 20th of July. And then on the 27th of July, by special request of Thomas Meadow, 65, Saison DuPont.
35.
Woo!
Okay, Thomas Metal by special request. Okay, Saison DuPont, you say?
Yeah, man.
Oh, is Thomas Meadow 75?
Yes.
Where did the 65 come from?
Probably that's when you were born, Jay, 65.
No, that's when my mother went to see Sonny and Cher. Hey, well,
I got you, babe.
okay. Anyway, so that's it. We got a lot of exciting beers coming up, and I'm most excited about the beer of Moretti La Rosa because it's a weird beer because half the people can't get it. It's strange.
Yeah.
You know, it's got me worried.
Send
Send
that on messengers and I can see if I can find it.
I'm gonna send the schedule out. But I Saison DuPont, I can get that beer, but that costs a lot of money. But anyway, it's worth it.
So is Chimay, but Chimay's worth it too. Chimay's a
What,
good beer.
what day is Saison DuPont?
So I think it's the last week,
20th?
July
27.
27th.
And we should all do it in the French accent, the Saison DuPont.
Oui, oui,
Ah.
Actually, we'll only be able to talk in French during that review. All right, that is
I know.
We all talk like a pep in the pew for that one.
No.
all right. So les bon temps relais.
Bonsoir tout le monde. Bonsoir, bonjour.
Bonsoir. Good night.
À votre santé. Cheers.
Bye.
Bye, folks.
Au revoir.
Folks.